All right, let's talk about what it really takes to build a company. Today, we're going to dig into the raw, unfiltered truth of entrepreneurship using Rizwan Virk's fantastic book, Startup Myths and Models, as our guide. We're going to get past those polished success stories and look at the messy, real journey.
Okay, let's just jump right in with this, because it says it all. On the left, that's the story we're all told, right? This idea that a startup is just this smooth, clean line going up and to the right. But the reality, as the book shows so well, is what you see on the right. It's a mess. It's this tangled, chaotic adventure with twists and turns and dead ends. It's not a business plan, it's a quest.
And this quote from the great mythologist Joseph Campbell, it just nails it. Virk's whole idea is that the startup journey isn't about spreadsheets and milestones. It's a modern-day hero's journey. You're not just a founder. You're the hero in your own epic story.
And what's so powerful about looking at it this way is that it brings in the parts that the Silicon Valley success stories just love to skip. You know, the moments of doubt, the real struggle, the near-death experiences of the company. When you understand these stages, you get a real map for the adventure ahead, not some sanitized fairy tale.
So let's start where every hero has to start, with the call to adventure. This isn't just about having an idea. It's about feeling that pull into the unknown, a journey that, right from the get-go, has its own set of dangerous myths.
And here is the very first monster you're going to face. It's everywhere. The VCs, the tech press, they all say the same thing. You have to be chasing a gigantic, billion-dollar unicorn market right from day one. If not, don't even bother. But is that actually true?
Well, the secret, and it's a bit of a paradox, is don't. Don't try to build a billion-dollar company. Instead, the book says to find a small market, a niche that you can absolutely dominate, one that you're obsessed with and that you think has a chance to grow. I mean, think about Yahoo back in the day. It didn't start with a plan to organize the entire web. It was just a personal list of cool websites for a few people at Stanford.
And this isn't just some nice theory. I mean, look at these real-world examples. Nype solved a super niche problem with APIs and sold to Twitter for $175 million. Life360 started when its target market, families with smartphones, barely even existed. And even mighty Microsoft, they started by dominating the tiny market for the basic programming language long before they had dreams of a global OS empire. So, okay, if the treasure at the end of the rainbow isn't necessarily a billion-dollar valuation, then what is it? What's the real fuel that's going to get a founder through this incredibly tough journey? That's a question every single founder has to answer for themselves.
So the book lays out these core motivations. What's your driver? Are you in it for the money? For the creative act of building something new? Is it about building an empire and crushing the competition? Or is it about gaining fame and respect? Knowing your own driver is absolutely critical. And you know what? Knowing your co-founder's driver is probably even more important if you're going to survive the trip together.
Okay, so after you answer the call, every hero enters what Campbell called the road of trials. This is that tangled, messy middle part of the journey we saw in that first chart. It's usually the longest and most dangerous stage, where the sneakiest myths, often disguised as good advice, are waiting for you.
So in the old stories, heroes fought literal monsters, right? Dragons, hydras. For founders, the monsters are mental traps. They're these little bits of conventional wisdom that sound so right, but can actually steer your startup right into a brick wall. Let's go slay one of the biggest ones.
I mean, we've all heard this one, right? It's probably the #1 piece of startup advice from investors, advisors, everybody. Focus, focus, focus. Put on the blinders. Execute the plan. But what happens if that plan is pointed directly at a cliff?
Here's the real secret. It isn't just pure focus. It's a rhythm. Focus, explore, and then focus again. So you start with intense focus on your first idea to see if it has legs. But while you're doing that, you have to keep your eyes open, exploring the other little trails and opportunities you stumble upon. Then, when a better path becomes clear, you pivot and focus again, this time with real conviction. It's a dance between execution and discovery. And to navigate that dance, you need a compass. The book gives us a great one with the startup market life cycle. Just knowing if your market is brand new, or growing, or super hot, or starting to mature, that knowledge changes absolutely everything,
from your fundraising strategy to when you should think about selling.
And just look at the financial impact this has. In a growing market, you might sell for 3 to 5 times your revenue. But hit a super hot market, where all the investors have FOMO, that multiple can explode to 10, 50, even 100 times revenue. But then, as the market matures, that multiple crashes right back down, even if your company's revenue is still going up. Timing is everything.
All right, let's tackle another monster you'll definitely meet on the road to trials: your growth flatlines. The first temptation? Blame people. My marketing is terrible. Or, if we just had a better sales team. But is that really the problem?
To find the real answer, you have to look at something called unit economics. Now, it sounds a little jargony, but it's actually super simple. You've got LTV, or lifetime value. That's how much a customer is worth to you over time. And then you have CAC, your customer acquisition cost. That's how much you had to spend to get them in the door.
And this right here, this is the simple, brutal truth of it all. If the money a customer brings in is greater than what you spent to get them, you have a real, sustainable business. If it's the other way around, you're basically just lighting cash on fire. No sales team or marketing budget in the world can fix a broken engine like that.
Okay, so if you can survive that road of trials, you make it to the next stage of the adventure, the chance to actually acquire the treasure. And in the startup world, that treasure is usually a big exit, getting acquired or going public.
And that treasure can be very, very real. $175 million. That's what Twitter paid for GNIP. The same company we talked about earlier that had to find its way through its own trials and pivot to discover where the real gold was buried.
So how do you get the biggest treasure possible? Well, here's the secret. You have to understand the difference between the logical reasons a company says they're buying you and the real emotional reasons behind the scenes. They might say it's a strategic buy, but the real driver might be pure fear of missing out. Or maybe a VP just needs to check a box for their boss, like, we need an AI strategy. Figuring out that hidden emotional driver is your key to winning the negotiation. But here's the thing. What if the cash isn't the real treasure after all? The final part of the journey kind of redefines the whole purpose of the adventure.
And this quote from Verkit just says it all. The money is one thing, but the journey itself is what changes you. In the classic stories, the hero always returns from the adventure transformed. You go through the underworld, you face your fears, and you come back a different person, stronger, wiser. That transformation, that's the real reward.
And that leaves us with this final question. The journey is going to transform you. That's a guarantee. So as you think about your own path, whether you're a founder or just someone fascinated by this world, ask yourself, what treasure are you really seeking on your adventure?